Take a moment to read this full problem statement. In this particular example, our objective is to test hypotheses about a population proportion. We're going to use technology as much as we can. I'm going to choose to use StatCrunch here. And one more thing I want to do is focus mostly on part D. So I'm assuming that you can set up your hypothesis statements in part A, just based off of the information from what's given in the problem. And then in part B, when you go to check those requirements of using the normal model, you see that they're not satisfied. So that leads us in part C to not be able to use the test statistic C0. So we can't use the normal model, but we're still asked in part D to find the p-value. If we cannot use the normal model because those conditions are not met, then we have to use a binomial distribution. So what I'm going to do is pull up StatCrunch here. I'm going to go to Stat, Calculators, and Binomial. Again, we're using binomial distribution because the conditions were not met to use the normal distribution. Here, I'm going to set up all the information that I have in this particular problem. So I know that there are 40 as the sample size, and the probability of success was 0.4. And what I'm trying to determine here is the probability that x is greater than or equal to 18. And when I click compute, I see both the visual description, the graph here of that binomial distribution, and this area that would also be representing the p-value for this particular problem. So with that p-value of 0.311, then we can state the final conclusion here that since the p-value is greater than the level of significance, which was given as 0.05, we will not reject the null hypothesis because there is not sufficient evidence to support the researcher's notion that the proportion of adolescents who pray daily has increased.